So welcome to Achieve Financial Freedom webinar. Um, and so today we want to take our conversation, we want to take it a step deeper. If this is your first time, I don't think any of us here are first time. I guess you've been here. We're all here on Thursday, and now we are again. Good to see you, Pastor James. Good to see you. I want to believe it's Pastor James that I know. All right, good to have you. Now, I want to quickly take it a step further by sharing with us on um, we're looking at living from paycheck to paycheck. It's one of the biggest burden, biggest challenge that we've had to deal with as diasporan Nigerians who operated in different economic environments and then who have been used to a particular economic environment and then migrating to a different economic environment, you realize that things are not exactly the way they are. Oh, great to see you, sir. Great to see you, Pastor James. All right, so most of us migrated from a cash-based environment to a credit-based environment. So, and many of us didn't, fully understand how the credit system worked, at the time we migrated. And so we've gotten our fingers burnt. Now we are learning, we have learned by experience or learned by some of our challenges. And so today I want to just touch, because we really don't have much time to do justice to such a broad subject. So what I want to do is just to basically teach on living above financial pressure, just living above financial pressure. Whether you whether you agree with me or not, pressure is one constant thing we see. Some of us face the pressure of not enough money, and that is what is most predominant for most people, for most families, for most businesses. Not enough money, and then there is also a select group, right, who have the pressure of too much money, right? And I know I've had people say this to me, let it come first. I prefer that pressure. But either of those pressures are not the type of pressure you want to deal with. You don't need to even wait till you start to generate high level revenue before you make the needed adjustments. But I just want to quickly give us some vital facts about pressure, financial pressure in particular. It's one thing that many of us are already familiar with. In life, pressure is normal. That's first thing you must bear in mind. Pressure is normal. Without pressure, nothing will ever get done. Now, just like your heart and my heart, right, requires a level of pressure to pump, to supply blood to other parts or different parts of our bodies. So exactly is financial pressure. So we need a healthy form of pressure, right? Which means it's a regulated pressure, right? Because if it is too low, it's problem. If it is too high, it's also problem, right? It is a healing pressure if it is regulated. It will be killing pressure if it is too high or too low, right? And that's why I often share a lot about the fact that the reason why money is regarded as currency is because it is current. It's never designed to be static, it's designed to flow. And you need to regulate that flow. It is lack of that regulation that creates either too high a pressure or too low a pressure. And I'm speaking specifically because money can really be likened to blood. In the sense, it is your blood and sweat that produces money, right? Again, it is blood that keeps the life of the body is in the blood, right? So also is money. And that's why it's important to understand regulation is so critical. Um, I've shared it time and time again. Any life, any business, any family that lacks structure, all right, that lacks structure is bound to rupture and it has no future. And I want you to type it in the chat box or in the comment section. I want you to write it. Any life, business, or family that lacks structure has no future and it's bound to rupture. And that's why regulation is so important. So it's a question of structure, structure before income, right? And that's why we are looking at it in this particular sequence. The second very important fact that we need to also understand, apart from the fact that pressure is normal, um, is the fact that just like time, money is not enough. It has never been. It will never be, right? The more you have, more money. The more money you have, the more you wish you had, right? And there's a principle called the Parkinson's law. The Parkinson's law states that as income rises, so will the expenses also align with it. So when you earn so little, you had a way of reorganizing yourself to measure up. The moment there's an upsurge in income, you immediately adjust lifestyle. And that's why most of my clients, most of my mentees and people I coach or mentor, I always emphasize this issue of lifestyle. A lot of people live very large, right? And that in itself is creating an unusual pressure. Last Thursday, we looked at the black tax. And that in itself is part of the things I'm going to be touching on here that creates a lot of pressure for a lot of us. Okay. So just like time, you will never have enough time. You will never have enough time. I don't know if about you. One of the things I personally decided to do, or I've decided to be doing is that I want to dedicate each day to three important tasks, three, unavoidable tasks. These are the things that if I don't get done, nobody will do it on my behalf. These are the things that move the needle. These are the things that drive results, you know, and that move things in my favor, right? And it will vary from person to person. It will vary based on your circumstance, your situations, and all of that. And I found out that high performance, this is the one key thing that they do, right? You will never have enough time to do everything you want to do. You will never have enough money to sort out everything you want to do, but you will have enough time and money to do what is most important. Right. So I want to encourage, this is also part of regulation, right? When you have this understanding, it has a way it helps you to self-regulate and also regulate your environment. Okay. One of my mentors would say that it's a common knowledge in his family. Once he's asleep, except it is a health, life and death matter, except it's an emergency that involves life, nobody should wake him. Nobody must wake him up. All right. And so it's important that you self-regulate when you know the key things that matter. And I've seen this with a lot of high performance, right? Some people, they perform the most. And I'm sharing this not just in the light of money alone, but also in the light of, um, you know, in the light of productivity, overall productivity as a person, as a career person, as a businessman or woman. You must understand this, that you will not have enough time, enough money to do everything you want to do. The more money you have, I'm telling you, even the richest person on the planet is still looking for more money to advance other projects, right? At every point in time, you realize that the dreams that you have, the visions that you have are way bigger than the resources available to you. And this is what compels us to be more creative. This is what compels us to be more innovative, right? Okay. Um, the third important fact we also need to bear in mind about financial pressure. Okay, this money issue, this money thing is the fact that you can't have everything you want, however rich or poor you think you are. You can't have everything. Okay, you can't have everything. You can only have the things that matter the most. Okay, and this is how we ought to live. This is how we ought to operate. And this is how we ought to educate people around our family, around our environment. I don't know if we're all getting what I'm saying here. If it's making sense, please just type 5, just type 6, let me know. Type 5, let me be sure that you can hear me loud and clear. Let me be sure that you can hear me. Yeah, let me be sure you can hear me and you are getting me clearly. Fantastic. Okay, great. So you won't have everything, right? You won't have everything that you require, to function. No matter how rich or poor you think you are. Okay, all right. Um, Number 4, and then this is extremely important. We said something very related to this on Thursday, yeah, on Thursday, that what when we're talking about black tax, what often, all right, results in financial pressure for most of us, now I'm not excluded, what often results in financial pressure for most of us is when you or other people overestimate your financial capacity. And now, if you can relate with what I'm talking about, please, I want you to type it there because whether you like it or not, even within the community, within the family, within if you are a Christian, within the church community, literally, even within your alumni, everybody reaches out to you when there is something to be done. Everybody have a way of overestimating your financial capacity. Nobody thinks about other people that are depending on you when they are making demands. I don't know about you, but that happens a lot, especially if you are of Nigerian descent. You know that this is very, very true. So the question therefore is, now there are several other facts that time won't permit us to get into, which is really why I want to make sure that these sessions that we have are very brief so that we can really hit on some of our key questions or key concerns, right? And that's why I'm just giving us mid-size or bite-size, you know, or presentation of this sort, right? Now, but when you have this much pressure and now you understand some of these facts, there are still a lot more. Time won't permit us to get into it. In the Achieve Financial Freedom Challenge, I deep dive into this in greater depth. But what is the cure to financial pressure? This living from paycheck to paycheck. On Thursday, um, one of us shared a very powerful experience of how he came to America and how he saved up money enough to give him down payment for a house, after 2 years. A lot of stories that went into that. But you can tell that he managed the expectations of people so well. He understood his situation and he knew that in order for him to achieve this goal, he need to lower his cost. He had to share his accommodation with somebody else who was sharing, who was paying rent along with him. There are a lot of us who are living larger than ourselves. We are behaving big boys. Sometimes the spouse, the husband is willing to make those adjustments. The wife say, no, I cannot lower my standard. See, it's a temporary discomfort for a long-term comfort. Temporary discomfort over toward or for a future comfort. There are many sacrifices you have to make. There are many things you deprive you. That's what we call postponed gratification, right? But the desire, the pressure to want to get it now and you know have the feel now, right, deprives you of something greater in the future. So, but what's the cure to financial pressure? Let me just simplify it. It is the word called budgeting. Is the word budgeting. Budgeting, what architectural drawing is to a building, okay? What architectural drawing is to a building, that is exactly what budgeting is to your financial future. I don't know if that makes any sense. So if you find any meaningful house anywhere, what preceded that physical house, all right, that you can touch, you can see, you can, all right, that's it was preceded first by a drawing. And because I'm also in the built industry, I can tell you this for free. A house is typically, preceded with some of this drawing, architectural drawing. If depending on the height of the building, it would may require structural drawing. In some other instances, most instances, it will require M&E, mechanical and electrical. Mechanical includes the plumbing works, how water drains, how water flows into the building, and all of that. The electrical works, how power comes, and all of that. These are all part of the designs, and a lot of intentionality goes into that design. Now, if you will not be broke tomorrow, is today you will know. From the kind and the type of plan that you have, you could tell. But if I continue like this, if I continue like this pressure will not only kill me, to kill everybody in this family. Shebi they are going to school. That's why when you know now no good, now no fit chop again, now go no say there's problem. So, and a lot of people we don't have this type of structure to our lives, and that's why we are constantly living from paycheck to paycheck. I gave an instance in one of our sessions, and I said that truth is, if you find anyone who is making progress in their finances and every other compartment of their life. They have data, they have metrics that they measure from time to time to use to make decisions. We all need this in our lives. I want to encourage you. If you've not taken our um, the financial health check, I'd really want you to go take that health check, the assessment. Make sure it's a 26 packed questions. Take those questions. It will send you your it will send you your report to show you your true state, your true financial state. And it will send you not just your financial report, it will tell you exactly, it will give you recommendations, right? All of that will be sent to your email. So if you have not already done that, I want to sincerely and strongly recommend. I know it has been shared in various communities, but please do well to look for that assessment and complete it. It's going to be of great value to you. More importantly, also, I would recommend that download your bank statement for the last 6 months. You can pick to June, January 1st to June 30th, all right? And then just download it. Just have a sense of, okay, what is the flow? Now, because there's a relationship between your records and the budget. And that's why I teach also on record keeping. You don't need to be a chartered accountant to be accountable, right? You just need proper records. You know how much came in, you know how much is leaving. Once you have that record, it will give you, so your record will show you your financial history, while your budget will give you your financial future, will project into your financial future. I hope that makes sense. And there's a whole lot of relationship within that. One of the things I found early on within my own personal life and in our businesses, and even with people that I mentor, is the fact that a lot of people have difficulty developing an effective budget, largely because they do not have records, no reference, no receipts, no record of anything they spent. The way the money came, it just left without any no tracker. So that's why I'm saying download your bank statement for the last 6 months. Check what are the things that took money the most from you. What are the things that you spent money on that were complete wastes? What are the things you spent money on that really moved your life forward, added value to you? All right. I mean, I was talking with I was, doing I was having a coaching session with one of my clients yesterday. And in the course of the discussion, I told him he's based in the UK, as an entrepreneur, and he also runs his business, is also in Nigeria. So I was giving him some strategy and all of those things. So I said, there are four major headers. And this is the way me I think, because sometimes you have so many things that is collecting money from you, but you are not able to group them under you have so many items. I like to group them into into main headers. So let me give an example. So if you live and work abroad, and I mean you live in UK, US, Canada, Australia, wherever else, this also applies in Nigeria. But in these countries, these are the top four things that you cannot really, there's no way you can escape it. All right. And I'm going to tell you a story so that I can wrap up and then we can take questions and then we'll be done for today. Number one is shelter. If you live abroad, you know this is one thing that takes one of the most part of your revenue, most part of your income. Shelter. Rent is monthly. And if you pay mortgage too is monthly. It's every 30 days or, every 30 days you must pay. And it has no respect to your color, respect to your title, has no respect to the weather condition, it has no respect to whether you have a job or you have lost your job, has no respect to whether you have a lot of obligations or whether you are healthy or sick. It has no regard for that, right? Number two is food, food, right? Food. And then you can group that into water, groceries, other things, right? Food. The third one is transportation. So whether you are commuting to work or you are commuting to wherever, transportation. And then the fourth one is communication. So whether it is internet data or just phone calls. And some of these things are automated. It's like automatic expenses. Now in Nigeria, Some of these things are not, you can branch off, you can be an uninvited guest into somebody's house and then you meet them when you have an idea when they cook. And then we have this way, you can't visit somebody in America and say they will give you as what? Say what happen. That's as if you even meet them at home. And if you meet them at home, they didn't expect, we're not expecting you. They will just welcome you. They say you care for water. Nobody is going to so do you understand what I'm talking about? Why? Because everything, there's something that is already placing demand on it. So those are the four that you cannot do without. So I'm going to tell you a story. When I was a struggling young man, actually by the time I was age 27, 26, I was already a multi-millionaire, but I soon went broke. And um, I had mastered how to make money, but I hadn't mastered how to retain and sustain money. And so, and one of my greatest lessons in during that period is, and that's why I respond to black tax the way I do. I'm not speaking from a standpoint of somebody who is just repeating what other people say. I have my own personal experiences. A bulky part of my earnings went to helping people. Because of course at that time I wasn't yet married. So just helping people. Once you call me and you tell me you have a problem, that's it. I lose sight of everything else I'm doing. I had no agenda for my money, and so people set agenda for the money on my behalf. And it went, and I soon went broke. You know, it was catastrophic because by the time I went broke, I was already married. And I recall that because of my generosity, people took advantage of me. Um, some of them did it sincerely. They didn't know they were taking advantage of me. I also did not even know they were taking advantage of me. It's with the benefit of hindsight, I'm seeing that, okay, they took advantage of me. Um, so those days, when I help someone, they go and tell other people, maybe in a church, for example, and so and that guy is very nice. So, hey, what happened? Ah, no, my children have not paid their school fees. He just helped us pay their school fees. In fact, my rent just expired. They just paid it. You know, that was the way people went and advertised me. You know, how I wish they were advertising my product, advertising my business, or advertising what it was I was doing. Cut long story short, that was how I kept sharing. And that's why I came up with never share your oil, only share the light. Never, ever share the oil, only share the light. Why? The light depends on oil to continue to shine. You are at liberty to share your light. The day you run out of oil, your light is inadvertently going to go out. And guess what? If many of the people you are helping, they will still be helpless after you go broke. So none of them, neither you nor them will be able to help each other. And that realization has helped me till tomorrow. And when I'm giving this advice, a lot of times people look down and feel that this guy does not understand my situation. Listen, God forbid if you die, life continues. All the people you thought you are helping, they will. You'll be surprised at how quickly your spouse will remarry. You'll be shocked at how quickly your children will start calling somebody else father. You'll be amazed. So don't die in trying to please people, trying to impress people, trying to, I've gone past that. Someone said that, one of my friends, he said, when you are under 40, you are living your life to impress. He said, when you clock 40, you don't care about who is watching and all of that. He said, by the time you clock 60, you realize that nobody was even watching all along. So I'm not living my life. Maybe at the point I was under the pressure, people guilt tripped me, people emotionally blackmailed me and make me feel so, and I will be sleeping and I'll be thinking that I need to send something. Now, I say no without guilt. You know the reason? And this is so important. It's very connected to what I'm about to say. I say no without guilt because the fact that I said no to you didn't mean that I've not said yes to others, but they were part of the plan, they were part of the structure. So part of the structure for me became giving sacrificially um, on kingdom matters. And I'm a Christian, Bible believing Christian for that matter. And so I recall that those early days when we were struggling, I will make some sacrificial givings that will affect us in the family. Now, by this time, I was already married. And I'm going somewhere with this. So my my wife will be wondering, this guy, can't you see that we need food at home? Can't you see that we are struggling? We need help. How dare you say you give the money we're supposed to use to, survive for the next 1 month? You say you give it and you did not consult me. So one day we were having a ministers meeting. So I asked my pastor and my mentor at the time, I asked him, I said, sir, what would you do if you were in my shoes? Because I really don't understand why I'm facing this type of misunderstanding between my wife and I, as far as this financing thing is concerned. Guess what my mentor said? Please pay attention to this. Are you there? Are you ready? Please type you are ready. Please just type because I need to tell you this. He said something that was very, very instructive. He said, and I quote, he said, you don't obey one law and disobey the other. The fact that you are trying to obey God is the same God that gave you instruction to cater for your family. So he says, so make sure that you are not disobeying God by not taking care of your family. And he said, in taking care of the family, he said, make sure that nothing tampers with the basics. And the basics, if you live abroad or you even live in Nigeria, these four are the things that I mentioned, and those are the basics. And we're not talking luxury, we're just talking basics. We're not talking anything extraordinary, we're just talking basics, right? And he went on to say, then he said, because you are the head of the home, whatever decision you are taking can either, because let me tell you honestly, it is not just hard work that prospers people. You need favor. I hope you know that you can be more intelligent than others, and the less intelligent people be more successful. You can have better ideas, superior wisdom, and superior ideas, and your labor is not attracting favor. I hope you understand. All right. So, and that was exactly what I did. But he went on to say, because I'm the head of the home, whatever decision I make impact on the family, both in the short term and in the long term. Then so therefore, I must educate my spouse. I must educate my family. Of course, my children were still very, very. I think we only had one at the time, self. so, so he advised that don't ignore kingdom. Put God. Don't sideline. Don't budget God out of your finances. Okay, and that became the rule. So every month from that time on, every month, there's an allocation to take care of all these top four things. Does that make any sense? So I've heard someone say that now there are families where the spouse is also the wife or both husband and wife are working. In America and the UK, you can't even afford not both of you for both of you not to work. Even in Nigeria now, you can't even afford not to work. I've said it that even though the cost of living has risen astronomically in Nigeria, right, almost at par with living abroad. I mean, for those of you who have families in Nigeria, they will be able to tell you, right? Cost of food, everything has skyrocketed, gas, everything has gone up. But income has not risen proportionately. So people are under pressure. What is taking money from them is more, right, than what is bringing money from them. And it's creating a lot of tension, even in families. So it's not only peculiar abroad. Now, in the event that you are the only one who is making the income, right, you would need this formula I just shared with you. But in the event or in the situation where both you and your spouse are both making money, right, what I would recommend is, in addition, depending on the level of intimacy and understanding that both of you share, because you're supposed to be life partners. And that life partnership should extend to even your finances, your career, your businesses, and all of that. But depending on the level of intimacy, this is what I recommend. You could request the either of you who have the potential for greater revenue should handle the entire responsibility of the home, and then let one party be using the remaining part for investment purposes for the same family. So let us use your own income to run the home. Let's use my own income to create a future for us. Does that make any sense? This is how you can balance things out. And like one of my mentors would say, he says that if you if you if you both have a joint investment, you will think twice before you start considering divorce. So one thing that binds you even together further and longer is even having this joint investment account to say, okay, we are building this for the future. So there's nothing like my money is my money, your money is our money. Not those nonsense should not be even entertained. And if you are single, then of course, wherever you are supposed to, most times every day when I go on my prayer walk, I notice some young people who are going to work, and rather than drive or use scooter or whatever, they trek, right? Right? It's also a means of transportation. Trekking is a means of transportation and it's healthy. So adopt all the means that will keep you healthy, both physically, mentally, emotionally, and financially. Instead of eating out, cook the food at home. Prepare different soups, arrange it in the freezer. If you know you're going to come back, you put it in the fridge. Just arrange your life. I believe that with this, we can then begin to embrace, because the next edition, we're going to be talking more about how to make a lot of this money to come your way. All right. And I don't want you to miss it for any reason. Okay. So, but before the money comes, please put your house in order, set up a structure, right? Put budget in place. All this we go into deeper arrangements when we get into Achieve Financial Freedom Challenge. And I give you the various templates you can use and all of that. You would also have a workbook that will guide you in the entire process. This is where I would love to stop, because I've said quite a lot already. If you have any question or you have further contributions, I honestly want to take them. Thank you very much. Over to you, Stella.
Thank you very much, FC. That was very, very insightful. I'm sure everyone on this call, I can see that we're about that. We're like 17, so 15 of us on this call. I'm sure we've gotten something very valuable. But some of us think that the solution to financial pressure is maybe deliverance. So we want to get something very shocking, something you've never heard before.
Mm.
But alas, it is budgeting, right? Budgeting is the solution to all financial pressure. Because if you know what is coming in, definitely know what's going out, and then you know the things that you cannot afford. Like Osi also mentioned, the need for postponed gratification. So please, if you have questions, I'd like to see our questions. But then just thinking about the topic, living paycheck to paycheck, that's not how a lot of us have planned our lives when we're coming to diaspora, right? Sometimes we think, oh, if I earn more, then I can give more. And then we think that money problems can be solved by working, hard, but that's not the solution. So while we're waiting for questions, I have one question, and that question will be, OC, what is a pathway? Because the topic said we're going to talk about three tips for stability or three strategies. So
Mm.
maybe I should just ask now, what's the pathway out? What do we need to do instead of working harder? I know that budgeting is already there, but what else? What other things can we do in order to level up
Okay,
or do more than level up?
thank you very much, Stella. So let me quickly put this out. You see, I believe a lot in practical, something that you can immediately go and use. So there are two ways to create more money, right? A lot of us on this call already have means of income, but it's just that the math is not mathing, and that's what is creating the pressure. And that's why I started from the angle, right? So before I start telling you other means by which you can multiply your income, create income, asset, and all of those things, let's talk about how to even manage the one you have, because we make money by solving problems, all right, by working. And when we work, we're essentially solving problems for people. And we manage money through budgeting, right? And then we multiply money through investing. Okay. So the two ways is to reduce or save costs, reduce your expenses, cut off some subscriptions. You don't, I mean, if you are struggling financially, you shouldn't be having Netflix. You shouldn't have Prime. There's some subscription you should not be doing. You shouldn't be watching TV. Somebody that needs, what you should be watching is YouTube. Read books. That's what you should be spending money on. And I'm sorry if I'm sounding this brutal, but that's really the fact. Because how will somebody who is broke really have time to be watching movie? You need help. You need intervention. I'm sorry if I'm sounding this, you know, brutal. So reduce expenses. For those of you who live abroad, I want to recommend you, if you live in the US in particular, you can download this app called Rocket Money. Right? With Rocket Money, you can connect all your accounts to that app. With that app, it will help you, it will give you exactly what is taking money from you, and what is, bringing money to you, right? And then it will give you data that you can analyze. Rocket, Rocket Money. Thank you, sir, Pastor James. All right, um, so download that and connect your accounts to that app. It will help you, for especially for those of us who are lazy to take note or do things properly. So as money leaves your account, so all your credit cards, all the debit cards, connect it to that app, right? With that, every month you have an idea what is taking money from you. One thing that attracted me to that app, I saw the ad on, and I'm not marketing for that. I don't really know who the founder is or whatever, but has it helped me significantly? I have accounts, firm that also manages most of the things that we do, in the US. Nigeria also has its own and all of that. So, but this app helps me to see that, this is where this thing went to and all of those things. So I cancel subscription or downsize them. There are some subscription that takes as much as 120, 129 a month. Recently our marketing manager shared with me and said we should look at something smaller. And so that one is like maybe $46 or something. I have some subscription that, okay, something is paying for it. The platform itself is paying for itself. So it makes a lot of economic sense. So, but if I don't have that app, I probably will not be able to have a grasp on that. And for those of us who are not in Nigeria and in the US, I'm not sure if it is available for those in the UK, but you can check it out, right? One thing you can do is first lower your expenses. Let me be honest with you. Hunger does not kill you. It's starvation that does. Eating once a day, hmm, is a good practice. And I'm being sincere with you. Eating once a day is a good practice, particularly lunch. So if by any means, take something light, maybe fruits, all right, in the morning, right, and then something, um main meal. Your main meal should be in lunch. So do 0, 1, 0. When you are broke, that's not when you should be eating anyhow. Yeah, because really, when you really are becoming very wealthy, you will now realize that food is the last thing on your mind. You eat to live. You don't live to eat. Okay? Because a lot of us are eating out, you are going for one event or the other, cut back on it. Okay? Cut back on it. And it is that type of app that also help you. The second thing is now to make more money. Because if we want to really lower this pressure, if you want to lower this pressure, this financial pressure, you want to ease the tension in your finances, increase the income. But we don't start from there. You want to block the loopholes first. Because of what use is fetching water with baskets? Of what value is that to your family? Of what value is that to yourself? So you want to first and foremost block the loopholes through which money is being drained out of your life. You know, if somebody is losing blood, if somebody gets injured, maybe they got involved in an accident, and they are not able, and blood is dripping out. Do you think when they get to the hospital, the first thing they will administer is blood transfusion? No, clearly not. It will be stopping that flow. How can we stop this blood dripping out? Is that correct? Before they consider even blood transfusion, it's the same thing. So reduce expenses, and there are lots of ways by which you can reduce expenses, right? One of those principles I adopted early on, where I don't live too far away from my place of work. Um, My children don't go too far from, they don't go to school too far from home. So it's within 15 minutes, everything we want to do. So it's also helping with family bonding. It's also helping with managing expenses. Because it's when you go out very early in the morning that the pressure to eat out will be there, right? But if you live and work not too far away from home, then there's no reason why you shouldn't stay back home and cook, right? Home cooked meals are cheaper and they are more hygienic. At least, if nothing at all, you know the source of the water with which you prepared it. All right. So those are the two key things I'm going to mention about minimizing this pressure. But most times people only concentrate on making the money. And the reason why I'm starting or moving with this first and not with making money, which we will look at next week Saturday. We'll look at that in greater depth, right? I'll show you some things, especially those of you who are in business. I'm going to show you some things, right? This guy reached out to me. Now, this is this is on a serious note. The gentleman I was coaching yesterday um, reached out to me about 3 weeks ago or 4 weeks ago and told me and was very vulnerable. And this very great guy, solid guy, as in solid. When I mean solid, doing great, and he's also in my industry, doing great things. And I have great respect for him. And I was really humbled by him, explaining where he was. Now, listen to me carefully. The guy told me all the things he was dealing with, and I had been through all of that. And so I was in a position experientially to share with him what it was. But guess what? By the time we had our first two sessions. Now, I'm not trying to market myself, but it's the truth. This guy himself told me, himself, not that I forced it. I didn't ask him for testimony. He gave me the testimony yesterday. He said, based on the things I shared with him, he had he had generated over 100 million naira based on the things I shared with him. And that's what I'll be sharing with you next week, next week, Saturday. Now we're not having Thursdays anymore because I realize that there's no point doing this Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. It's really very demanding. Not because I'm not willing to do it, but my time is really becoming extremely scarce, it's very in high demand. So I have to begin to reappropriate. So I really want to be available for you all, right? And honestly, I really want to. But please do everything you can. If you know any businessman or woman, they should not miss next week. So these two things are very important. So today is about minimizing expenses. If you can lower your costs, some of us are living in houses that are bigger than our income, right? It was Dr. David Oyedepo who said he has never lived in anywhere where he needed prayer to pay the rent. He said his student has never gone to any school where he needed to fast and pray for the school fees to be paid. He said once that is the case, you are lacking wisdom. And the key is to change, switch. If you need to share apartment, if you need to sublet your apartment, please make the needed adjustment. Because let me tell you something, whether you like it or not, life will put you in that situation that you did not use discipline to put yourself in eventually. And I know this from experience. Okay. They say at my level, sorry, no problem. They play. When that time comes, you see that all your braggadocious attitude is beneath my level. You will realize that it doesn't work anymore. Okay. So that's my advice. I don't know if I answered your question, Stella.
Yes, yes, yes. It was so really perfect. So I think everybody on this call would agree that income generation is not just about any more money. It's also about managing the time. It's
Okay.
about you doing that exercise that OC mentioned. OC mentioned that we should download bank statements or request for your bank statement. They usually even send it to your email at the end of the month. Really look at it and say, and ask yourself the question, where did all my money go to? And where did all my money come from? And that way you'll be able to see some of the leakages that are not really supposed to be there. And then you're able to block them. Because if you earn more with that same leakage, you're still going to lose more. So maybe you don't even need to earn more right now. Earning more might just amplify your leakage, for lack of a better word. It's going to make the holes bigger,
Hmm.
right? So sometimes it's not about earning more. And I really hope that we do get that, because sometimes we think earning more is the solution. Also wanted to state that budgeting would help you with black tax,
Yeah,
because you create a budget for it. You create a budget for it. If it's not in the budget, if it's not structured, then it cannot be accommodated.
absolutely.
Right. So I really, really like that point, because generosity without boundary would be extremely dangerous, and you don't want to be there.
Mm.
Do we have any questions? Can I see our questions in the chat room? This is really, really beautiful. And I like the piece of you also mentioning never shed your oil, shed the light. And when you mentioned this, what came to mind was, oh, so those were what the virgins in the Bible did.
Yeah.
When they were asking for oil, they told them, no, go and buy.
Yeah.
Go and buy. Because I imagine that they gave them their oil. They'll all now run out, and
Hmm.
then they'll now lose out on the opportunity. So
Absolutely.
you really need to guard your sources of income, because there are some people, even if you give them all the money in your account, they'll still not be satisfied. So
Hmm.
you cannot please people. And that's where something that OC also mentioned about having boundary is very key.
Hmm.
For every yes that you say to everybody, you're saying no to something. And that no might just be yourself. So are you trying to say you're not worth it?
Hmm.
Because something that I was also thinking about the black tax, OC, and saying some
Hmm.
people are sending black tax home to pay for somebody's school fees, but you have never taken a professional course. You have never improved your own learning, and you're investing on that person's future. Think about it. Do you really love that person so much at the expense of yourself?
Hmm.
Don't fulfill one law to break another. I think that's one of that very interesting thing that has struck me. And the fact that hunger does not kill, it's starvation that so like really, because yes, that's what we see when you're reporting giving report from the world. We see, oh, starvation. People are starving. They did not say hunger. It
Hmm.
is starvation. So you don't have to eat with your 5 fingers or with your
Ten
10
fingers.
fingers.
10 fingers. Yeah.
Yes. I really, really like every tip, everything that I've heard today. The way I wrote was like I've never attended this webinar before. So everybody set a budget. Set a budget and find a way to fortify your financial base. Find a way to fortify your financial base. And also, I don't know if you want to maybe speak to reasons why people should not afford. I think you've already said it. Reason why people should not afford to miss the Achieve Financial Freedom Challenge, because it's completely transformational. If you look at every session that we've had, how we started by letting you know that you are the critical success factor when it comes to building wealth. That it starts with your mind. And then when your mind is now settled, you now go into preparing. And then you now go into, we're now talking about income generation, we're gradually easing into income generation. So you can see that money is really not the problem. It is you that we're trying to fix, right, OC? We're
Absolutely.
trying to make your mind correct, because if your mind and your eyes are trained to see opportunities, then the rest we don't need to start telling you. That's why we're teaching you how to manage the money, because the money will come, but
Yeah.
we want the money to meet a better you
Yeah.
and a more informed you. So also, I don't know if you want to also speak to
Hmm.
if there's an opportunity for referral, because somebody reached out to me to
And
say, oh, is
refer
there referral
people,
this time around?
refer people. But the beautiful thing right now, like I share and I've shared time and time again, is the fact that anybody who attends this program, you have a money back guarantee. I think um, there are 5 days of this program. Each day is focused on a specific subject. Day one, we focus on personal transformation, and that's what we've been sharing about. We go deep dive. There's a whole lot that we unpack in day one. Day two, we focus on personal preparation because we recognize that If you don't set agenda for your money, other people will set agenda for it. A life that has no structure is bound to rupture and it has no future. So that's what we set, and we give you the template, we give you the structure that you can use to manage your finances. It doesn't matter where you are right now, right? You may have worked for 30 years, you may have been working for 25 years, you may have been working for 20 years, but you may not have the right structure. And there are things you probably don't realize or don't know yet. And we will introduce that to you. And then day three, we focus on income generation. Um, and we believe that you cannot manage money you have not yet made. Neither can you multiply money you have not yet made. So income generation, money flows in the direction of value and trust. The more valuable you become, the more trustworthy you become, the more money flows to you. But there's also a way to position, because there are crooks who are better positioned than you, who have integrity, who have capacity, who have competence. Right? How then do you position your value? How then do you, those are the things that we'll begin to talk about, whether you are on the career path or you are an entrepreneur. And for those of us who intend to transit into business, you will derive significant value here. I always say to people that if you're not making money at all, there are three possibilities. One, you start to beg for money, and that's not honorable at all. When you run out of people to beg from, when it becomes shameful, there are people who shamelessly beg for money, and then the people they are begging from eventually block them or avoid their calls. I've seen that play out. I mean, I've also had to do the same for some people. It's like, be a shameless marketer than being a shameless beggar. I mean, you have something, right? Unfortunately, when people reach out to you for money and you give them advice, they feel that, well, they say you're a billionaire now. Why don't you just give me the money instead of telling me all the stories? And it's like, okay, I give you once, I don't give you again because I'm enabling your irresponsibility. So the begging is the first thing that happens when you don't make money. Two, when you run out of people to beg from, you start borrowing money. You start robbing Peter to pay Paul. You borrow from this to pay the next. So you enact or activate the cycle of borrowing. And that's very dangerous. And then when you run out of people to beg from and borrow from, then you start cutting corners, you start compromising, you start defrauding people, you start scamming people. And that's none of these three is honorable, but the third one will land you in jail. Will land you in jail and trouble. So it is important that we settle and understand how to really, really make money. Because even if you have some amount of money stored up somewhere, and that money is not working for you, it's not generating extra income, over a period of time, that money will begin to deplete, it will evaporate into thin air. $1, $10, $15, $20, $100, $200 after another expense. All of that will deplete the money eventually. So you need to make money. You need to learn how to make money. Because let me be honest with you, I have understood this for a long, long time that one of the critical evidence that you are wealthy is your ability to produce money whenever you need it. So anything that empowers you, puts you in the position to produce income whenever you need, wherever you find yourself, no matter how adverse, just give me time, just give me space, I'll produce it, right? And that is something that is very, very valuable. And it impacts on your self-esteem. It impacts significantly on your self-esteem. So you are not depending, if you are a wife, you're not depending on your husband. You're not counting on, oh, if he does not bring money, you will not be able to survive. You as an employee, you are not counting on, oh, if your employer sacks you, your life is not tied to that institution. You know that that institution life is even tied to you because you carry cargo, you carry value. That is that confidence, is that attitude that you exude, and that's critical when it comes to the journey of wealth creation. And on the fourth day, we look at asset accumulation. When you start making this money, what then do you acquire? I told us last week, I said the reason why rich people get richer is because they acquire income or cash flow producing assets. The reason why poor people are getting poorer is because they are their only cash flow producing asset. So should anything tamper with them, the income will stop flowing. Do you get? So we look at that, and until you start making money while you are asleep, you will work till you die. And so we look at that on day 4. And day 5, we look at assets optimization and retention. It's not enough for you to have accumulated assets. You want the assets to perform optimally. You want them to produce. You want the asset to generate more revenue for you, and more importantly, you also want to retain it for generations, and you want them to outlive you. So that's pretty much the scope of the program. It comes with a money back guarantee. Now, the program itself is selling for $299, but the first 50 people who register have the opportunity to just pay 99. Now, this is what I recommend. Whether you are paying, whether it is 299 you end up paying, because if we already have 50 people, the 51st person will pay $299. There's no escape to that. You either keep the money or you pay the full amount. Now, everybody have the opportunity to do that now. Most time people don't, because you feel, oh, the program is still taking place September 29th. By September 29th, the door may have been closed, and I don't intend to continue to do this type of arrangement. It's just that I'm more concerned about adding the value than about the money that people pay. And that's why I'm telling you that even the 99 or $299, if you attend this program and you feel, oh, it was a waste of your time, waste of money, ask for refund. We'll refund you in 7 days. That's how confident we are in the program. Do you understand? So we give you a workbook, we give lots of recommendations and a host of other things. And then of course you have opportunity to ask any question regarding how to improve and better your financial life. So if you want to take advantage of that for enrollment, just send AFFC, send it to +1 470 708 4107, and then they will send you the details. Just take advantage of it as quickly as you can. Okay? Yeah. I think that will be all for now. I don't want us to exceed 1 hour. I want to thank you all, everybody.
Thank you, everybody. If you want to become a mobile money, then AFFC is for you. That is the place to be. Period. Enjoy the rest of your day. Bye for now.
Bye
Thank
for
you
now.
so much and see you next week, same time.